Welcome to Hilversum. I'm Emmanuel, the owner of this aero club. Here at the club, once you've earned your PPL, you can build up your flight hours and get more experience by taking people out on first flights. But before
Welcome to the apron. This is where all our flying adventures begin. Why don't you walk around a bit while I finish the pre-flight preparations? Today we will be flying in a Cessna 172 Skyhawk. It's the main trainer airplane in our flight school. Our Cessna's got a glass cockpit and a 180 horsepower engine, climbs well, and is easy to fly. It's one sweet ride. I'm ready if you are, so hop in and buckle up. Let the good times roll. Welcome aboard. While you settle in, let's go over our flight plan. After taking off, we will climb to 460 meters above sea level and then fly over the airport to enjoy the view. Perfect. The wind is from 270 degrees direction with a speed of 9 knots, so we'll be taking off from runway 25. Okay, let me taxi to the runway.
سلامات. الله يسعده. تعال تعلم.
Alright, now comes the fun part. After releasing the brakes and applying full power, we will speed up and take off once we reach 100 kilometers per hour airspeed. We will be climbing at
يلا حول.
139 kilometers per hour, which is the recommended climbing speed for the Cessna Skyhawk. While climbing, we will follow a left-hand traffic pattern and make 2 turns. Don't worry if it sounds overwhelming, I am here to help. Release the parking brakes, otherwise we're not going anywhere.
يلا.
Good. Ready for takeoff? Apply full power to get us moving.
يلا إلى الطيران.
You handle the yoke, and I'll take care of the pedals, steering the aircraft on the runway during takeoff. We have reached 102 kilometers per hour. Pull the yoke a little bit to lift off. Perfect climbing attitude and speed. I see you know what you're doing.
بدك
We are
تنزل مي.
approaching our first turn.
بدك تنزلها.
As you'll see, the Cessna 172 requires very little yoke movement to turn. We are 90 meters above the ground. I will retract the flaps. You keep climbing. You can start turning left. Keep climbing and prepare for the next turn. Okay, turn left again. We are almost there. Remember, we need to climb to 460 meters. It will keep us 150 meters above the traffic pattern. I love the weather
حول.
today. The clouds are beautiful, aren't they? There we are. 460 meters above sea level and 150 meters above the traffic pattern. We have safe separation with the other airplanes. Look around. See our airport? Let's fly over it.
يلا هاي طيران حب. يعني في تغيير في اللعبة حاليا.
Well done. I believe you have a talent for piloting. I hope you enjoyed the flight. Let's head back to the ground now.
Success. عشان والله بدي
I'm
اطلع
glad that we
بس
flew
المطار
together
مو مخدم
today.
بال
This
AI.
might be the first chapter in your pilot's journey if you want to embark on it. Let's catch up at our headquarters. You seemed comfortable out there. I'm sure you will get your PPL in no time.
يلا let's go.
There's a laptop in the office. Here you can see all the different certifications you can pass throughout your career.
يلا هون شهادات.
Your
شو
first
الأخبار؟
step
شو عم
is to
تعمل؟
work towards your private pilot license. All the training lessons you'll need to pass the PPL exam are available here. Make sure you're comfortable with these before taking the exam.
يلا افتح ديسكورد. يلا. إنه يعمل. training. هلا ما حاسمع بالديسكورد. انا ما عندي صوت. طيب ماشي. تمام ما عندك صوت. حلو. ستارت. شو الاخبار؟
Welcome to Sedona. I'm Captain Jess Molina, and I'll be your instructor. For this lesson,
شو
we're
عم
going to start
تعمل؟
on the ground and focus on some basic concepts. Fundamentals every
بالبيت؟
pilot needs to know before hitting the skies. This is your plane, a classic, the Cessna 172. Take a look around it.
نفس الشيء في المنزل.
In the simulator, anytime you want, you can easily switch to cursor mode. Now try to find and open the camera panel in the toolbar.
عم تنزل.
The camera panel allows you to access the various views and camera modes of the simulation. Go ahead and close all the panels for now. In front of you is the yoke, the primary means of controlling the aircraft.
شو بدنا
In the
نعيد الدروس
simulation, you will be
كلياتها من
controlling
أول
the
وجديد؟
aircraft with your peripherals of choice. So, let's
منزلين
hide the yoke
هذا
for now. Alright, as
جديد.
we've seen, when you want to look around you, it's easy to rotate the camera. But you can also move it freely in the cockpit to get a better view of anything you want to see.
بام بام.
Even through a window to look outside.
Training complete. طب هدول أنا مخلصهم من زمان. Start the training and let's go. Certification. Aircraft. شوفي ما في. هي دي.
Let's get you familiar with the aircraft, a Cessna 172, and a few commands to navigate it through the skies. In front of you is the yoke. The yoke is like a steering wheel, more or less. Turn it left or right to control the ailerons and bank the aircraft into turns. Look at the trailing edge of the wings while turning the yoke to see the effect on the ailerons. Okay. Now, the difference between the yoke and a steering wheel is you can pull or push on the yoke. This controls the elevator at the back of the aircraft to make it climb or descend. Look at the horizontal stabilizer while you pull on the yoke. You can see how it affects the elevator.
ما بعرف هلا غيرته من شوي هذا.
Nice.
فصار مدري شو.
Down at your feet are the rudder pedals. They steer the aircraft when you're on the ground. The upper part of the pedals also control your brakes. In the air, they control the rudder at the end of the vertical stabilizer to yaw the aircraft. This is mostly for small corrections. For coordinating turns or compensating for a plane's tendency to pull left during takeoffs and climbs. Look at the vertical tail while operating the pedals to see the effect on the rudder. Great. Last but not least, the throttle is located near the center of the cockpit. Pushing forward will increase power, pulling back will decrease power. First, look at the throttle and select it. Keep it selected and push it forward to increase power. Power is increased. Now pull it back to decrease power. Power is decreased. Now we'll do the same without focusing on it. Deselect the throttle. Look away from the throttle and increase power. Set your throttle to idle. Excellent. When the engine is on, you'll be able to see the power change on your RPM indicator. You will find it on your PFD screen in the top left corner.
بنعرف هالقصص هيدا. ايه اشتغلت. يلا هينا هون. شو عمل له؟
This tells you how fast the engine is spinning in hundreds of revolutions per minute. Next, take a look at your current speed on the airspeed indicator. It's on the left on your PFD screen.
Yes. شايفينه. طيب شو اعمل؟ طيب شايفينه؟ ما بده
It
يصير.
measures the speed in knots.
ضروري
To
اشوفه
check your
بعين اليمين.
altitude, look to the altimeter. It's on the right on your PFD screen. Not all aircraft have integrated screens with all this information. A lot of them rely on analog instruments. You can
I
find
know.
the analog versions of the airspeed indicator and the altimeter just above the throttle. They are respectively on the left and right. The analog altimeter has 3 hands similar to a clock. The long, thick pointer indicates 100-foot intervals. The short, thick one is 1,000-foot intervals. And the long, thin one counts 10,000-foot intervals.
طيب.
That's all for today. Next time,
شكرا.
we'll see how
Thank
it
you.
feels in the air.
نشوفك. Aircraft Essential. هاي ال 2024. مم. قول لي فصلت اللعبة. حلو. أحلى شي لما تفصل. ليش يعني بدها تفصل؟ يلا سنعود. ما بدها إعدادات هذا كارت الشاشة. بدها تظبيط حتى إعداداتها. أه... إعادة تقييم. والله يا علمي. إعادة تقييم لكل شيء. ما بدهم يحطوا أي كادر. ما بدهم يستخدموا السياسة القديمة. شو هو؟ صوتك بعيد. هلا بعد أسبوعين. يلا السنة تبدأ. ما عم تشتغل؟ كله جمود حتى عنا. حتى عنا الوضع بهدلة.
You seemed there. Here you can see all the different certifications you can pass. Your first all the training lessons
يلا
you'll need to pass the PPL exam.
شو في عندي؟ هدول عنواني ساويان. هات نسوي الاختبارات. Start training.
The art of maneuvering a plane through the air isn't a mystery to you anymore. Now it's time to test the skills you've learned. As you can see, we're cruising at 6,000 feet on a north heading of 360 degrees. Start by descending to 5,500 feet while maintaining a northerly heading. While descending, reduce throttle to avoid overspeed. While descending, reduce throttle to avoid overspeed. That's okay. Now climb to 6,000 feet and turn to a south heading. On the Cessna 172, you need full power to climb effectively. You can start the climb when you're ready. You can start the climb when you're ready. That's good. The turn was good, but try to climb faster in the future. All right, next exercise. Maintain your heading of 180 degrees, stay at 6,000 feet, and adjust your airspeed to 80 knots. That's good. Your speed was well managed, but your altitude needs to be more accurate. You did well, but you can do better.
الميكروفون كان هلا عم يطلع صوتي؟ هلا البس كنت لاغي. كان next training. engine cover station port. نشيل العدة. عملوا إضافات جديدة على التدريب. هلا بتاخد شهادة وبتروح تعمل طيرانات هون وبتدور. let's do it.
Hello. Today we're going to go over all the steps that precede turning on your engine. Those steps are essential to ensure your aircraft's integrity and that everything is in order for a smooth and seamless flight. First of all,
Yes.
stretch your legs a bit and take a look at your aircraft and your surroundings. We never took much time to look at our aircraft from the outside, so take your time if you want to inspect it. You might have noticed some extra bits on your aircraft. These are the covers and chocks. Covers are installed when the plane is not in use and are meant to avoid damaging its sensitive parts. Chocks are there to immobilize the aircraft. You'll need to remove them before takeoff.
No. ليش بدهم يوقفوها؟ ليش فين؟
And we're done for the outside. Now that we're sure your aircraft is functional and ready to taxi, let's check the inside. Let's get to the matter at hand. You've been given an EFB, also referred to as an electronic flight bag. It's a tablet that stores critical flight information and is the ideal tool to prepare your flight plans and enhance your piloting experience. Open it and take a look. Feel free to follow a quick guided tour of its features. The YEFB features an interactive map, a flight plan editor, aircraft and current flight information, a nav log, as well as fuel and payload options. The YEFB has plenty to offer, but if you want to get directly into the action, you can turn it off after you finish the quick tour. It seems like we're all clear on the checklist. Now start this pretty bird up. Now that we've covered all the preparations, let's get to the good stuff, shall we?
Yes. Let's go if you want. Oh, next training. Taxing.
Let's take a moment to talk about taxiing. Taxiing refers to moving the aircraft on the ground under its own power. In particular, getting from the ramp out to the hold short point on the edge of the runway. Steering on the ground is managed through the rudder pedals. That's right, unlike driving a car, we turn by using our feet. Okay, ready? With the throttle idle, release your parking brake. Next time, make sure your throttle is at idle before releasing the parking brake. Now, gently increase throttle to get the aircraft moving. All right. Use your rudder pedal to turn left and enter the taxiway.
Let's go.
Increase throttle to gain forward momentum and then reduce RPM accordingly to match a fast walking speed while taxiing. Now, test the brakes. Good. Brakes checked. Taxi to the next exit, then come to a stop. Remember to control your speed with throttle and brakes. See the crossing in front of us? Stop before it, as if traffic was coming off the runway. All right, taxi to holding point Alpha 1 next. It's at the far end of the airport, near the head of runway 21. Stay as close as possible to the taxiway center, marked by the yellow line, and watch your speed.
And watch yours.
Watch your speed. Watch your speed. After the right turn, come to a stop before the hold short point, in prep for takeoff. That was good taxiing. The next challenge will be to keep the aircraft under control while at full throttle for takeoff.
Training complete. Next training. Oh, oh. Next training. Take off. Let's take off. Start.
There's an old saying I like. A mile of road will take you a mile. A mile of runway will take you anywhere. Taking off isn't hard, but there are a few key points to remember. First, we always take off into the wind, which won't be an issue on a calm day like today. Second, before we enter a runway, we always make sure it's clear. Check to the right to see if a vehicle is on the runway, and to the left to make sure no other planes are approaching. Runway numbers are not arbitrary. Each number matches the first two number of the runway's compass bearing, rounded to the nearest 10 degrees. For example, a runway orientated towards the north would be numbered 36, which is 360 degrees on a compass. Everything looks good, no cross traffic. Go ahead and taxi into position. Now slowly taxi onto the runway and align the plane with the center line. Then stop your plane just after the number 21.
Let's go.
Not bad. All right, let's do this. Apply full power, and I'll walk you through the takeoff as we go.
And take off. Let's do it.
Use your rudder to stay on the center line, and keep pushing power until you reach 55 knots. Good. Now gently pull back on the yoke. And we're airborne.
First flying.
Line up the top of your instrument panel so it's a couple of inches above the horizon. That'll pitch us up and set a good climb attitude. Maintain 75 knots and we'll reach our target altitude of 5,500 feet in no time. Focus on flying straight. Use your rudders to remove the left yaw our plane has when climbing. You can see your current yaw input by looking at the MFD slip skid indicator.
خارج نطاق التنظيم يرجى المحاولة لاحقا.
Maintain 75 knots and climb to 5,500 feet.
جايكي.
Okay, 5,500 feet. You've reached your target altitude. Good job.
Good job, good job. We have did it. شو عم تقلي على الوجع؟ سلامته. ليش لحتى تاخد دواء؟ Line up the noise of the plane. طيب ماشي. حسنا، جيد جدا، لا بأس.
For this landing exercise, I want you to focus on the yoke only. We're close enough to the runway to land safely without adding any throttle. Maintain a speed of around 65 knots. Pitch down if you're going too slow. Pitch up if you're too fast. Keep your airspeed at 65 knots. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. To flare means to raise the nose of the aircraft to slow your descent for a softer landing, but without ever leveling off or climbing. The main landing gear will touch down before the nose wheel does. We're coming up on flare height. Resist the temptation to pull back. Now, focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. Nice. Now, apply the brakes progressively to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop. Use rudder pedals to stay on the center line. Well done, but there's room for improvement. Keep in mind that approaching the runway at the right speed is key to a good landing.
Key is for a good landing. So, we can do it. Next training. Landing. Online. طب ما فينا start training again and again.
In the first part of this landing exercise, I want you to stay on the glide path by using the throttle. You can make small corrections with the yoke to stay aligned with the runway. Smooth action on the throttle is key for remaining on the correct glide path. If you find yourself too high, reduce your power. If you're too low, increase it. Remember though, always make soft corrections. You don't want to overcompensate. Now you can use the elevator to land.
Okay. So 60 63 landing.
Reduce throttle to idle. Now, focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. Nice. Now, apply the brakes to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop. You did well,
Stopped.
but you can do better.
You can do better. طيب ايش في اكتر من هيك؟ ما حاجتك. هيك جيد. مو جيد. وين اخطأنا؟ الستوب. طب الستوب عم نضرب الفرام ما اسمها عم توقف. هي عم تتأخر. فلير ابروتش. يلا. Let's do it.
My first instructor used to say, the best part of flying is landing in one piece. Today, you're in charge of bringing us in for a safe landing. And I've already set us up in landing configuration at 65 knots with 20 degrees of flaps. Keep your aim point on the runway threshold. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare.
يلا هبوط جديد. Can do it. يلا المرحلة اللي بعدها.
Reduce throttle to idle. Now, focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it.
كسرت الطيارة
Nice.
وكسرت الرحلة.
Now, apply the brakes progressively to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop. Use rudder pedals to stay on the center line. You did well, but you can do better.
But you can do better. شو أعمل
Keep
لك؟
in mind
شو
that
بعرفني
approaching the runway at the
مخففين
right
السرعة
speed
انتو؟
is key to a good landing.
كانت طارت. منيح رفعنا السرعة لكن ضربنا بالحيط ودمرنا. لحقنا حالنا. يعني nowhere. Downwind. Exercises. Every time. Let's try.
Okay, we're currently flying on the downwind leg at the standard traffic pattern altitude of 6,000 feet. It's a flight path parallel to the landing runway, but in the opposite direction. In downwind, you want to start preparing for landing. That means setting your speed and flaps configuration. We are passing the end of the runway, so go ahead and reduce RPM to 1700. It will help you to slow you down to 80 knots and begin your descent. You need to stay in the pattern for the sake of this exercise. The flaps provide extra lift at the expense of additional drag. This extra lift allows flying at a lower airspeed. Flaps allow for smoother and shorter landings. Go ahead and extend 10 degrees of flaps, all while maintaining current speed. We will turn to the base leg when the end of the runway is at a 45-degree angle behind us. Turn left onto the base leg. keep our speed around 75 knots. Keep an eye on the runway as we get ready for our final turn. Turn left onto final.
Lovely. Haydi.
Make your left turn onto final. Keep a stabilized approach with 65 knots airspeed and prepare for landing. Use throttle and flaps as required to adjust the glide slope. Apply the brakes and stop the plane.
Apply brakes.
That was all
هبطنا.
right. A little more practice will help your accuracy, though.
We have landed. No. The next exercise. Let's try downwind training. Now, another training. Start. That's nice. Good grade. Microsoft 2024. The next exercise
It's
is
time. Your first solo flight. I'll be watching from the ground, in radio contact if you need me, but something tells me you won't. Your goal is to complete Sedona's left-hand traffic pattern on your own. Remember everything we covered in our previous sessions, and you'll be
No.
just fine.
Solo flight.
Good luck. See you on the other side.
See you too. Let's take off. Max power. Airspeed. 50, 55, 60, and now. Flag. Seven, 75 knots. It's good now. last one, the landing. Use power, use power. Oops. I need some power. More power, more power, more power. Go, 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 go.
Don't sink, don't sink,
Don't sink,
don't
don't
sink,
sink.
don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink,
Careful.
don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink,
I'm not.
don't sink, 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 don't sink.
No. Terrible landing.
I think a bit more practice may be a good idea.
Of course. But I
You're
have
on your
no
way to
control.
becoming one hell of a pilot.
راح الكنترول كله، شو اعمل انا؟ هيدي كوارترز. بس معنا مشكلة هون، الكنترول كله متغير. الفلاب مو شغال. settings كنترول فلاب. شغال. ليش ما اشتغل؟ شغال الفلاب. ما اشتغل على هاي الطيارة. طيب شو باقي عنا؟ تمارين. ايوه خلصت. تيك اكزام. حلو. من بعد التمارين كلياتها في اكزام من دقايق. ايوه في عملة هون ندفعها، نسوي الامتحان. حلو. طيب باك. ندفعها حتى ناخد. كل مرة بنعمل الامتحان بدنا ندفع مصاري عليها. حلو، لهيك جميل جدا. يا حبيبي ندفعها هيك كتير. كل مرة بنعمل الامتحان. طيب إذا بدنا نشتغل بغير طريقة حصرا لازم نعمل إكزام مع 2000. one time payment you can retry for free. هات لنشوف الامتحان. take off clamp and landing launch ready private pilot lessons. بدنا نشوف تزبط. No, it's your time.
It's time. Your first
Yes.
ever check ride. Start by removing the covers and chocks, then join me inside.
Yeah. ما عم تستجيب. لا هي عم تستجيب ولا هي عم تستجيب. طيب وين الماوس؟ أخيرا.
Your goal is to complete a left-hand traffic pattern, respecting the flight path and all
Yeah.
required speeds. Rely on what you have learned in your trainings, and you'll be fine. Now, show me the best traffic pattern that you've got.
Echo Hotel Hotel Victor Traffic Cessna Papa Hotel. Papa Quebec Hotel is taxiing to runway 25.
تاكسي.
Echo Hotel Hotel Victor traffic Cessna Papa Hotel. Papa Quebec Hotel taking off runway 25 left, closed traffic.
Enter runway. Right.
Echo Hotel Hotel Victor traffic Cessna Papa Hotel. Papa Quebec Hotel 2 miles east 900 feet inbound to land runway 25.
شو أعمل يعني؟
don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink. Don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink,
ما صايرة.
don't sink, 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 don't sink.
شو عم يصير مع هاي؟
Great job. There's always room for improvement, right?
Yes. Nice. Very nice. Now we have finished